Now, I do want to talk about the ending of Wu Dong Qian Kun, but I don't want to get too bogged down in it because I know that a lot of people have varying feelings about this novel. A lot of people hate it, a lot of people like it but don't love it, and very few people apparently love it, as I've been seeing in the novel updates forums. I really liked it. I know that it has some repetitive themes. It has a lot of the same kind of storylines that repeat. It never really lives up to its full potential, unfortunately. It is a very long read for where we get to with 1,300 chapters or so. It's kind of interesting that we didn't really expand upon the world more than it did. But, you know, I enjoyed it. It was one of the first ones I started reading way back in the day, and I actually got started on it by reading like a few chapters of the manhwa the manga that somebody made of it, which I just was like, oh, I like this story. Let me check out further in it. Oh, cool! It's actually a Chinese web novel. Let me check out the whole thing. So I really do like it. I like a lot of the situations they put the character in. I like the writing. The ending is fitting, but in terms of Xianxia novel, it feels more like the ending of the first third of the story before the universe opens up. I know that Lindong continues with the Great Ruler, like you get a little bit more of a story through that story, but this story all takes place in the same cultivation planet. There's really only 3 or 4 main regions that we go to throughout the entirety of the story, and they really open up the world at the end with him becoming, spoiler alert, the Dimension Master. But it feels like, if you're going to compare it to Desolate Era, this feels like 500 chapters into Desolate Era is the end of Wu Dong Qian Kun. Like when Jining gains control of the 3 realms in Desolate Era, and that's not really a big spoiler, but like that's kind of where this story ends. It kind of seems like a lawnmower you just got started. It kind of felt like they clipped the Phoenix's wings in this respect. You know, I know that the writer is known for kind of getting tired of stories and rushing them to get them up quicker. But all in all, I still give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10. I still really enjoyed it. I didn't think that it came together as well as Desolate Era, or as definitely not as well as I Shall See the Heavens. I Shall See the Heavens is a much better and well put together story, but it's still a very entertaining story, and it still uses elements in a really cool way. I love the way they used the ancient symbols. I love the way they used reincarnation. Nothing really felt too easy for the main characters, so it didn't have that overpowering feel that a lot of these other stories can sometimes have. It's a good novel. I enjoyed it, but yeah, the ending was a little bit okay, but it really felt like I just wanted this to be the first half. Like this felt like this is a 3 or 4 book story, and we just finished the first book. But first up, let's go over a little bit of the final parts of the story. So the final battle, we get the Yimo King turning into Lin Langtian, which is kind of cool. I like that we brought this full circle with Lin Langtian's character, because he was the main rival in the beginning of this story, and now bringing him back less as himself but more as just an image that the Yimo Emperor is putting on. I thought it was just a cool bring back for the ending. It makes sense. I'm glad that they didn't make it like Lin Langtian ended up in some pocket dimension and met the Yimo Emperor and he took control of his body. I'm glad they didn't do that. They just made it a very simple thing of like he used his mind to create the image of Lin Langtian. I did actually enjoy the twist about Ling Huan, where she has the ability to create an ancestor, but she doesn't have the ability to be one herself. It does make sense in terms of, you know, how the story flowed and why she was so in tune with the symbol ancestor, but they still ended up losing in the end. Because honestly, like, we're dealing with characters that have reincarnated into their old former power. So if their old former power wasn't enough to push them to the brink of becoming an ancestor to destroy the Yimo back then, and the symbol ancestor had to ignite his reincarnation to seal the realms back then it wouldn't make sense for them to just wake up in the now time, them not having any other ancient masters that are, or any other new masters who were just as strong aside from Lindong. So I liked the fact that she was the most likely to become the next symbol ancestor, but it actually is she's the most likely to have the ability to create the next one. So I did like that twist. I know a few people did not, but I was a fan of it. When we dive into the love arc between Li Qingshi and Ling Huanhuan with Lin Dong, you know, it was good. I don't like when the stories deal with no choice. In terms of let's lead you along until he's either got a harem or he has the one person. I'm not a fan of ending the story on the note of him searching after Ling Huanhuan without any closure with Qingshi. So yeah, I wasn't really too like on board with how they ended in that, but I also know that they ended with him chasing after Huanhuan outside of the dimension, so it opens up the greater story. It's just kind of like, I don't know, the love arcs were such a centralized theme in the whole story itself, so having that be kind of like a fizzle out ending was kind of weird. But all in all, because the romance and things in that story was so strong throughout the novel, I can forgive it. The Dimension Master twist. This was the fact that the symbol ancestor was actually just somebody from a stronger outer realm, like outside of the dimension that they were in, the cultivation planet per se that they were in. I like this twist. It makes sense. It makes sense that there would be a pre-existing history between the Yimo Emperor and the symbol ancestor, because why are the Yimo invading? What is their central purpose? Oh, okay, they're trying to get what essentially is the quintessence core, if you're going to use Desolate Era terms, the item that lets you bind the universe to yourself, or bind this dimension to yourself. So basically, this whole story takes place from the perspective of frogs in a well, and it opens up at the end to the fact that because Lin Dong gets the apex and has all the powers of everything within him, especially with Huanhuan sacrificing a reincarnation to boost him over the limit to become the ancestor, he can take control because he's actually from that dimension. And this is all very, very similar to Desolate Era in terms of being rejected by the universe, or being rejected by the realmverse. And the whole reason that the symbol ancestor couldn't take control of it and the Emo Emperor wouldn't have been able to was because they weren't from or born in that dimension. So, you know, all in all, it uses a lot of similar themes from other stories. I'm not sure on the timeline of where this ended as opposed to where Desolate Era in the writing when they were actually coming out. So I don't know if it was actually like getting inspiration from each other. But all in all, I give it a 6 or 7 out of 10. It was a good story. If you're a fan of Battle Through the Heavens, you'll like Wu Dong Qian Kun. If you're a fan of The Great Ruler, you might want to read it just to, you know, have some inside knowledge on how Lin Dong applies to that story. I don't regret reading it. I'm excited that I have another novel under my belt. I'm excited at the themes that they used. I really liked the themes of the ancestral symbols. I liked how they used them. I liked the twist at the end. I was still surprised at the end. So all in all, I enjoyed the story. Please let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you finished the novel or if you're about to read it, let me know. I still think it's worth the read. It's one that's over now, so you can binge the whole thing. So it's a good summer read while you're looking for something to spend the time with and waiting for your updates on the novels that you're reading day to day. So